Hey guys, Pedro here to tell you about the latest from Vltimas, Epic, out March 15th on Season of Mist. The album has 9 tracks, 37 minutes in length, and this is the band's second full-length studio album. They are an international blackened death metal band. When it comes to the design of this record, I felt like the album came short of being perfect from a design standpoint. I like starting off the record with an intro, but I want that intro to really give me something that allows the sequence of the record to make sense, allows me to feel like that intro introduces me to what the album experience is going to be all about. I didn't get the feeling with this specific intro. Also, if you're going to have a song like that to start off the record, why not have an outro so that you can have a sense of going full circle, or at the very least to have 2 bookends that give this record a beginning and end and allow the middle to be a little bit more dynamic while still being very cohesive and balanced at the exact same time. So it's a design that falls slightly short. It feels incomplete, but that takes nothing away from the quality of the sound, the quality of the execution that this album puts forward. And when it comes to the sound, that black and death metal sound is definitely the main core, it's definitely the spinal cord of the record, but there's also a little bit of a doom influence in some of the tracks that allows the overall experience of this record to be always very dark. It's just that that darkness doesn't necessarily completely consuming the songs, and sometimes feels more like a layer, it feels more like a texture that the track has because of the nature of the sound. And in those doomier songs, it takes a little bit more control of the song, and then it becomes a little bit more of a reflection of what the track feels like, even from a lyrical standpoint. This allows the overall sound of this record to be very textured, to be very rich, but at the same time simplified, easy to listen to, easy to process, and easy to digest. It's not a complicated sounding album. There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes in order to create this sound, this experience. But for the listener that presses play and is going to go across all 9 songs, it's a smooth ride. It's a dynamic ride, but it's a smooth ride. You don't have to work through each and every single track. You don't feel exhausted at the end of the experience. And because the album only has 9 songs in 37 minutes, at the end of the experience, you're ready to go back again to the beginning and enjoy the record once more. So the sound on this album gives great life. It gives great playability to the record itself. And it has great elements that are able to come across individually, but also come across more as a collective. A perfect example of that is the drum and bass sound. By the way, the bass sound on this record really pops. Some songs more than others, but it's definitely a noticeable element from beginning to end. It always feels like it's at the bottom end of the sound spectrum. And having the bass at the bottom end of the sound spectrum connecting really well with the drums allows the album to have a sense of depth. It allows the album to feel like it has more substance in it. And that also allows the drums at times to be very heavy and very brutal, pushing the top end of the sound in one direction while still feeling connected and grounded to the bass sound on the other. This really gives great quality to the overall record, and it gives a lot of freedom to the guitars to go in different directions, to offer darkness through the riffs, darkness through some of the melodies, be more driven, have more of a penetrating sound in other songs, and even within tracks allowing the guitars to offer 2 different experiences simultaneously. One guitar playing more off of the heaviness of the drums and bass, while the other one separates itself from that heaviness, and it's the driving force that really pushes the tracks forward. So this is the sound experience that this record has. Really well produced, really well put together. It has a very organic feel to it, and when you listen to this album, you almost feel like you're listening to a soundtrack to a theatrical dark horror play. It has that sort of epicness to it, and pun fully intended. It really feels that way. And then when you look at the lyrics and you look at the vocal performance behind those lyrics, that theatrical piece of this record becomes even more noticeable. It becomes palpable, and that has a great impact on how the vocals come across. David Vincent is phenomenal on this album. His range, his delivery, going to the upper part of his range, bringing the vocals all the way down, offering a little bit more darkness, a little bit more oomph, grounding them a little bit more, and then exposing them by becoming a little bit more free. It just gives so much life to each individual song, really going with the DNA of the song and allowing the tracks to have this dynamic movement, not just musically but vocally, because this record sound-wise has the drums and bass feeling very consistent in terms of what they offer, song in and song out. The changes are really put forward by the guitars musically, and then obviously by the vocal performance that ties in or at least emphasizes those differences, those ebbs and flows that exist within the songs, but more so from song to song. So great performance vocally, representing the lyrics extremely well, giving life to them, creating this very theatrical piece that surrounds this album. This is going to be a record that, from my humble opinion, as far as death metal is concerned, is going to set the bar. This is the album that all the rest of the albums this year are going to have to measure up to. That is the level of quality that this record offers. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I have to start off with Epic. Dark, heavy, a little bit more methodic at times. The heaviness definitely has a big volume behind it, and then the vocals are very explosive with great character within them. This really helps define moments within the song. There are dark moments within the song, and then there's some eerie moments within the song. So having this ability to define those, it's really important, because you're not changing the DNA of the track that much. You're just changing how you perceive the track. The drums and bass, once again, build up this wall. Those two elements work very well together throughout the entire album and really become the commonality that merges these very unique songs together. And then obviously the guitars move a little bit more into that darker vibe, becoming a little bit more driven. The chorus on this song is outstanding, and the solo really stands out as well in terms of offering great quality to the track. Then the song finishes off in a very doomy vibe, a very doomy experience. Next we have Mephisto Manifesto. The bass pops a lot on this track. It really identifies itself. It has a little bit of a calling card, has a little bit of a fingerprint that leaves its mark, works really well with the drum sound. It really completes the bottom end of the sound and allows the drums to push forward a little bit more but not disconnect from that bottom end. This gives freedom to the guitars to be a little bit more explosive, but it also gives freedom to the vocals to jump out of the track and have a different energy, have a different life within them. And adding to that, you have a very explosive chorus, explosive vocally and explosive musically. Another track that has a great solo. The vocals are over the top in this song, but this track has a great solo that adds energy, that adds life into the song. And this is one of the tracks where that theatrical aspect of this album becomes super noticeable. You may have not noticed it up until this point. The moment you listen to this song, it really feels like an audiobook, a track in an audiobook. That's how it comes across musically and vocally. Last but not least, Nature's Fangs. Out of the three songs that I picked, this is the most driven song of the three. It's the more relentless one. It's the one that has this great wall of sound that's coming at you. The wall is built by bass and drums once again, but the guitars are the ones pushing the wall towards the listener, being super driven. A little bit of a darker, deeper vocal delivery for this track. That helps also set the song apart, which is really interesting because you're going with a more driven song, but you're going with a little bit of a deeper vocal style. The two creating almost a polar opposite of one another, but finding a way of creating depth between both elements. It's also a track that offers a great solo. It has a lot of energy, and overall the darkness of this track comes across clearly, even though it's a very driven guitar-centric song. This is it. Vltimas with Epic, out March 15th on Season of Mist. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles, and I'll see you all at the next video. Take care, guys.